Hi friends, in this video I'm going to discuss the role of corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch in the Trump-Musk game of corruption. Quick refresh of the game rules. The objective for Trump and Musk will be to accumulate wealth and power while avoiding accountability and responsibility to the average American citizen, while the average citizen will be pushing back against manipulation, fraud, and corporate games that disadvantage them. Trump will be focusing on reforms that benefit the wealthy, and Musk will be benefiting from public support and resources. Their actions could be seen as prioritizing the interests of the rich and powerful over the welfare of everyday citizens. The players in the game are Trump, Musk, and the politicians who are the facilitators, and the American public, the pawns trying to survive the game while being manipulated through policies, misinformation, and wealth inequality. Now we discuss the role of corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch. In the corruption game, corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch play a pivotal role in shaping public perception, manipulating narratives, and reinforcing corrupt systems that benefit powerful political and corporate elites. Murdoch, as a prominent media mogul, has a unique influence through his media empire, which includes major outlets like Fox News, The Times, The Sun, and other global properties. Together, corporate media and Murdoch's influence are used strategically to distort reality, propagate disinformation, and distract the public from the real issues of corruption. They function as both tools and architects of corruption, ensuring the continuation of self-serving political agendas while keeping democracy and accountability at bay. Section 1 of Gameplay of Corporate News Media and Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch's media empire plays the role of a narrative controller by consolidating information across a range of media platforms, from news networks to newspapers. This allows him to shape public discourse, control the flow of information, and frame political and social events in ways that support corrupt leaders, corporate interests, and authoritarian agendas. Continuing with media monopoly and control, the narrative shapers. Framing reality. Through Fox News, The Times, and other outlets, Murdoch's media promotes a partisan agenda that distorts facts and exaggerates emotional appeals to keep audiences engaged in polarizing narratives. By focusing on selective coverage, sensationalism, and biased reporting, Murdoch's media helps to propagate corruption by preventing the public from questioning the real motivations of those in power. In the minigame, by activating the narrative control card, Murdoch's media outlets can shift public focus away from corruption and onto scapegoat issues like immigration, crime, or culture wars, creating a false narrative that distracts the public from the corruption happening at the top. Section 2 of Gameplay of Corporate News Media and Rupert Murdoch. Spreading disinformation and undermining truth. The propaganda machine. Murdoch's media empire plays a key role in spreading disinformation and creating echo chambers that mislead the public, spreading false narratives and undermine trust in democratic institutions. This is a crucial part of the corruption game, as it helps corrupt political figures remain in power by controlling the narrative and discrediting opposing views. Murdoch's platforms are often used to attack the media, spread conspiracy theories, and delegitimize criticism. Continue with Section 2, Spreading disinformation and undermining truth. The propaganda machine. Fueling polarization by creating binary narratives that pit us versus them, or patriots versus elites. Murdoch's outlets divide society into hostile factions, making it harder for people to unite against corruption. His media empire becomes a tool for spreading propaganda that supports corrupt agendas, whether through misleading headlines, distorted facts, or false equivalencies between competing ideologies. In the minigame, Murdoch's disinformation campaigns help to neutralize opposition, confuse the public about the truth, and keep corrupt leaders in power by amplifying conspiracy theories, fake news, and scandals that distract from real issues. The third section, protecting corrupt leaders, the shield of media. Murdoch's media empire often acts as a shield for corrupt figures like Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, and other populist or authoritarian leaders. In the corruption game, Murdoch's outlets can be deployed to protect these figures from public scrutiny, legal challenges, and accountability. Instead of investigating corruption, his media empire frequently serves as a PR tool for these leaders, laundering their reputations and deflecting scandals. Continue with Section 3, protecting corrupt leaders, the shield of media. Media as a cover-up. By downplaying or misrepresenting scandals and investigations, Murdoch's media empire serves to shield corrupt leaders from the consequences of their actions. For example, Fox News has been known to excuse or downplay Trump's actions, whitewashing his administration's missteps, and shifting blame to opponents. In the minigame, the Mini Shield card allows corrupt leaders to deflect attention from their illegal activities, ethical violations, and fraudulent practices, ensuring that their political capital remains strong and their power intact. Section 4, manufacturing consent, the media industrial complex. Murdoch's media empire operates within the larger corporate media ecosystem, where powerful interests work together to create a manufactured consent among the public. In the corruption game, this means that Murdoch's outlets act as conduits for corporate interests, lobbying firms, and political elites, ensuring that real corruption goes unchecked. Continue with Section 4, manufacturing consent, the media industrial complex. Corporate propaganda. By pushing narratives that serve the corporate interests, Murdoch's media helps to normalize corporate lobbying, tax cuts for the rich, deregulation, and other policies that benefit the elite while exploiting ordinary people. This ensures that the wealthy and powerful remain in control, and democratic accountability is undermined. In the minigame, playing the corporate propaganda card gives Murdoch's outlets the power to legitimize corporate corruption and protect corporate leaders who are enriching themselves at the expense of the public. The media narrative becomes aligned with elite interests, making it harder for the public to see real corruption. Section 5 of gameplay for corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch. Creating and amplifying scapegoats, the deflection strategy. In the corruption game, Murdoch's media empire frequently acts as a distraction machine by creating and amplifying scapegoats for society's problems. Whether it's immigrants, the media, or progressives, Murdoch's outlets often create false enemies that deflect attention from the real sources of corruption, such as corporate greed, political cronyism, and economic inequality. Continue with Section 5, creating and amplifying scapegoats, the deflection strategy. Shifting blame. By focusing on sensationalized issues like crime, terrorism, or immigrant crises, Murdoch's media diverts attention away from the systematic corruption that benefits elites. This creates a false narrative where the elite and corporate interests are protected, while the blame is shifted onto vulnerable populations or progressive movements. In the minigame, the scapegoat amplification card allows Murdoch's media to create false narratives that focus attention on distractions and moral panic, keeping the public distracted from the real corruption taking place among the powerful. Section 6 of gameplay for corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch. Profiting from division and chaos, the divide and conquer. Murdoch's media thrives on polarization, division, and conflict, as these elements drive higher ratings and profits. The more divided the public becomes, the more likely they are to engage with sensationalized news and fear-based reporting. making it easier for corrupt political figures and corporate elites to maintain control and extract wealth from society. Continue with Section 6, Profiting from Division and Chaos. The divide and conquer. Profit from divisiveness. By exploiting cultural wars, identity politics, and partisan battles, Murdoch's media amplifies societal rifts, ensuring that people remain disconnected from each other, making it easier for corrupt forces to remain unaccountable. His outlets profit from selling chaos and amplifying outrage, distracting people from real solutions to corruption. In the minigame, by activating the divide and conquer card, Murdoch's media helps create a media ecosystem where people are more likely to consume content that deepens societal divides, leading to a weakened democratic fabric and a politically fragmented society ripe for exploitation by corrupt leaders. The endgame, the role of corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch in corruption. In the corruption game, corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch serve as key instruments of influence that enable the perpetuation of corruption by, first, controlling the narrative. Murdoch's media empire shapes public perception and diverts attention away from corruption, keeping corrupt leaders in power and obscuring the real issues that matter to the public. Second, by spreading disinformation. His media outlets serve as disinformation hubs that mislead the public, undermine trust in institutions, and keep political elites free from accountability. Third, protecting corrupt leaders. Murdoch's media empire acts as a shield for corrupt political figures, preventing investigations and maintaining the power of authoritarian leaders. Fourth, manufacturing consent. His media empire helps normalize corporate greed and deregulation while protecting corporate interests and political elites. Fifth is shifting blame. Murdoch's outlets create scapegoats and distractions, ensuring the real sources of corruption are ignored while the public fights over manufactured issues. And six, profit from chaos. By stoking division, polarizing the public, and creating conflict, Murdoch's media ensures that society remains distracted while the elite continue to exploit the public for profit. In the corruption game, Murdoch and corporate media are powerful players that propagate corruption, manipulate public opinion, and prevent meaningful reforms, ultimately keeping the corrupt system intact for their own benefit. I hope this helps. Thank you very much for watching this video on corporate news media and Rupert Murdoch and their role in the corruption game.